Hello and welcome once again to All for United. We are back. Never fear, if you were sat there on Wednesday eagerly awaiting Benny's long-awaited return, we've had to move it back a couple of weeks. That's all. There's been some slight technical difficulties getting all of our ducks in a row on that one. So that will be happening, hopefully, in about a week and a half. But we are here. Happy transfer deadline day, everyone. It's my favourite day of the transfer window, Dan. It's here. It's my favourite day of the transfer window because once I wake up in the morning, everyone can just shut up about transfers.
But they don't.
And instead of going on about, oh, we've been linked with so-and-so, or this might happen, instead, we just got to deal with the people that go, oh, we need to get rid of this person, even though we can't do anything until January. But I much prefer that to the pain that we seem to have to go through every single transfer window. But we are here, as you can see, for a match preview. We will be having a little bit of a transfer deadline day input into that as well. As such, we've invited another one, and he done so well the last time that we've allowed him to come back again. Don't blink or rub your eyes. You're not seeing double. We basically, to be honest, it's a bit like a cross between Dan and Connor that we've got going on here, isn't it? It's like it's your face, but Connor's hair.
Connor's quiff.
So, but yes, brothers, Dale from Liverpool is here with us to look at the game at the weekend. How are you doing, Dale? Everything okay?
He's muted.
I'm muted. Hello. Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No, pleasure to have you back, sir, as well. And of course, Dan, lovely to have you here too as well. How are you doing, sir?
I'm just trying to distinguish between what's real and what's fake on these transfers, and it's not going well.
Not easy to do on the internet, mate, but well done. Give it a good effort. Yeah. And hello, Andrew. Lovely to have you here too. So the idea is it's still going to be short form. In other words, if we're still here at 9:10, maybe 9:15, someone needs to give us a poke and tell us it's time to go home, lads, and send us back. Otherwise, we can end up in a lock-in, and we don't want that. We don't want that. Not this evening. Not tonight, thank you. So, Dan, I'm going to come straight to you on this one. We are going to kick off with transfer window news because obviously Scott McTominay has just departed. I mean, it was obvious it was the worst kept secret in the world. I think we kind of knew it was going to happen the minute he was mobbed, let me tell you, by Napoli fans. And well, I was really pleased about that. Not pleased that he's gone, but pleased that he was mobbed because I sometimes feel like he could have maybe felt a little bit underappreciated here at Manchester United. They just immediately warmed to him. Does that show that actually the wider view of Scott McTominay from around the world and around Europe is a much better one than the one that perhaps we've had here in England?
I hope so, because he's always performed in a way that is respectable. Might not be the most gifted, best player in the world, but I think the stat is he won his 12 points last season. I don't think we win the League Cup or the FA Cup without him, without his important goals and stuff like that. So, I mean, he turns up for Scotland no end, was the joint top goal scorer in qualifying. So his perception can't be bad on the global stage. He's a good player. I think, if I'm honest, it's internet Man United fans that don't like him, and then rivals like to poke fun. He's always been a successful part of what he's done for the club. You can't argue that he's not been a good player for the club. I'm disappointed. I'm really disappointed that he's gone. A little bit more disappointed having read Ten Hag's quotes as well, that he's sort of gone more because of PSR rules than Ten Hag actually wanting him to leave. It sounds like Ten Hag wanted to keep him. So that to me is not really backing a manager, because you're getting rid of a player that he actually has come out and said that he wants to keep. So
and itself is a bit mad, isn't it? Like whole part of I wanted to keep him, but actually I think the quote was that the younger players or the academy players are more valuable to
PSR,
like you say. And it's like, why would we be in that sort of situation where we've got to sell someone who, like you say, clearly wants, but it is now disappeared because we've got a midfielder and we don't have Ugarte as yet announced. So if anything, we weakened our midfield as it stands. So you've got to presume that he's on his way in shortly.
Well, you would think that, I think this is where I'm a little bit confused. You would think that Eriksen would go first before McTominay in the realm of things, because he's not come out and said that he wants Eriksen. He's saying that he likes McTominay. I think there's a side point to this. McTominay probably wants first team football every week, and that's another reason why maybe he's gone. But it is concerning. It shows how poorly we've been ran over the last decade, 15 years, because we're having to sell players that are homegrown for PSR, and Manchester United shouldn't be in that position. That shows that we wasted a lot of money and overpaid on a lot of players, and it's not worked out well. Because if we wouldn't be in the position that we breach in PSR rules or close to breaching them. So that's a bit of a negative on that one. But no, I'm genuinely gutted that he's gone. I don't think you can. I said it last season, and I'll say it going forward. If we had 11 players with McTominay's desire, maybe just eat through the squad, we would be doing so much better than we are. My worry is now, and I'll be blatantly upfront about it, these are the players you need in your team to eke out the 12 points of winners last season. Are we now going to see players not step up? Because every other player's had a chance. So we need to hope that these players are right for the club now, and losing McTominay is not a casualty. But I've always liked McTominay. Thought he's been brilliant for us. Like I say, he's not an absolute world beater by any stretch, but he's always give everything for Manchester United, which is all you can ask.
Yeah, you know full well that's exactly how I subscribe to as well. The passion that he's got, the effort that he puts in. I'd much rather watch 11 of them play and finish 8th in the league than watch some of what we have seen and finish 8th in the league with what feels like a little bit less passion and desire. But there we go. That is that one. Obviously, like I say, we are expecting and hoping, if all of the little internet warriors are correct, that Ugarte should be coming in. There's also potentially news that Jadon Sancho might be the latest on the Chelsea shopping list. So that could be very, very interesting if Jadon Sancho decides to join the other 750 million people currently on the books at Chelsea. I'll tell you what would make me giggle, right, is if he went there and was immediately told he wasn't going to be in the first 22. I would, honestly, I would. I'd giggle. Dale, again, lovely to have you back on here. Your transfer window has been a bit of an interesting one, by which I mean you've seen a few people maybe go out, not so much on the coming in side of things. You've got a goalkeeper in terms of Mahmoud-Ashbili, but he's not expected to be coming in anywhere near your club for probably about another 12 months, really. And, of course, Federico Chiesa from Juve, he's a wide forward. Is that really the sort of place you thought you were going to be? I'll use the word strengthening, because certainly the chatter that I'm hearing around Liverpool fans is that actually you would have preferred a central midfielder like a DM or a centre back. So where were you sort of standing on that one?
Yeah, I think I'll probably go along with that. It's not the first name on the shopping list, Chiesa, but I think for the price that we've got him, and I've seen a lot of talk about his injury record and things like. I think he played something like 33 games last season, 9 goals, a few assists in there as well. So I don't actually think that his injury record's anything to be too worried about. But yeah, it's definitely not where we needed to strengthen. But it's been the same way at Liverpool for a few seasons now, even under Klopp, where if you look at the squad, it's actually quite difficult to go out and get a player that's going to improve that team. And we will spend the money if that player's there. Obviously, we went for Zubimendi, but he preferred the mountains to Champions League football. So be it. But yeah, it's a tricky one. I can see why fans get frustrated with the lack of activity, and I understand some of the FSGR brigade, because you see clubs like yourself, like Chelsea, Arsenal making big name signings and things like that. But I think if you sit down and just hold your nerve for a minute and just think about it, it's why just go and splash the cash on somebody who's not going to make you better. That's why Chiesa's such a good deal. We got him for half the price of what Brentford paid for Carvalho. And he's going to be able to come in, play across that front three. One thing Liverpool haven't had in a very long time is somebody to give Salah a break. Now, luckily, Salah is a machine of a player, and he does not get injured very often. Touch wood, that continues. But it will be nice to have someone who can come in and give him that opportunity to have a rest every now and again if he needs to have one, or if he does get injured or anything like that. So even though it wasn't the most necessary signing, I still think the Chiesa deal was a good deal. And he is. There's a lot of players. I think that clubs get linked to a lot of players, and people come onto Twitter or whatever it may be, and they pretend that they've been watching them for the last year and a half and they know everything about them, and really they've never seen them play a game in their lives. Whereas I think we're all aware of what Chiesa can do and how good he can be. So as long as his injury record, his injuries hold off and stuff, I know he had an ACL injury, then he should be great. And as for the goalkeeper, I just think it's good planning. I just think it's really good planning. Obviously, none of us, I don't think any Liverpool fan wants to see the back of Alisson, and nobody will be kicking him out the door. So it's just getting that next Alisson in place, ready for if Ali decides that he wants to go take the Saudi money, or if he wants to go challenge somewhere else. It's having that next keeper ready. You don't want to be in the situation where you're scrambling to try and find one. So yeah, it's been quiet. We've not had a stand. What I will say, going back to something you guys said about McTominay, is I've seen Chiesa's unveiling in his first interviews. The guy looks so made up to be coming to the club, and like to be. They gave him the Liverpool shirt in his sort of interview thing. He looked happier than I would if they gave it to me and I was going to get a game. He just looks really willing and up for it. So I'd take that over a Zubimendi who can't make his mind up or whatever. So yeah, it's I don't think we need to go out, and it would have been nice to get a DM. I don't see the thing with the centre backs either. I mean, we've got some pretty good options at centre back. Yeah, Kwanzaa's young, but we've got Konate, we've got Van Dijk, we've got Kwanzaa, we've got oh God, I forgot who it is now. Konate, Van Dijk, Kwanzaa, Gomez, Joe Gomez. People sleep on Gomez, but he's more than capable of than coming in and settling in that team. So yeah, pretty happy.
Good. I mean, certainly Daz here saying that Chiesa will always be injured. I do feel like, I mean, you said about the picture, actually about how he looked, Chiesa coming in, and certainly Liverpool have put out the pictures of him on the website, and he does, even on that one, look genuinely quite happy. Everybody else looks like they're posing for their passport, and he's very much, he wouldn't be accepted. That's for absolutely sure. But yeah, I do think that if this was United making this signing, I'm not convinced it would be quite so positively accepted for a 10 million, even if it is cheap. But yeah, Taz is going in hard on this one. He's also giving us a little bit of information here about Sterling. So, do you know what? If he does go to Arsenal, brilliant. I'm more than happy with him going there. I'll just
come in. Can I just come in on that? What Daz has said there. I think, can't we say that about all teams? Won't you guys be in trouble if you have a few injuries?
Yeah,
like,
not kidding.
No, we'll be fine. We're used to it.
What do you mean if we get? We haven't got to Mason Mount yet.
I think we fall down already, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm going to start calling him Mount Injured because it's getting a bit bad. Or is there another mountain? I'm going to come up with another mountain. I think there's one there between Mount and Kilimanjaro. There's definitely one in there.
I've got to agree with the Chiesa thing you said though there, Barry. I actually do think it's a pretty good sign. It's one of them where the fee paid is, because it's Liverpool, the fee paid is low, the risk's low. If it turns out good, he's well worth it. They'll sell him for 30-40 million because they've done that. But in terms of the media, that's what we're reading today, and that's the way it's been accepted. If Man United made this signing, it would not be the same. The media wouldn't be spinning it as if it's a low fee, it's good money. They'd be saying, oh, he's only played 66 times in 2 seasons. He's only scored 11 goals in 2 seasons. He's only got 12 assists in the 2 seasons, or whatever the stats are. So
66 games in 2 seasons isn't that bad.
Well, it's more than Delit.
So,
Believe it or not, it's more games than Delit. So yeah, but I do think there would be just because it's Man United, this media. TalkSport would be all over this, saying that it's a £10 million waste, etc. But I think it's a perfect signing for Liverpool in terms of cover and cost, because we've seen with Liverpool, like they sell for stupid money. He could not do well for Liverpool next season, and they would sell him next season for 25 million. It's stupid. I don't know how they keep doing it, but they do. So yeah, I do think it's the way the media cover it. It's not the same as if it was United making this signing. It's the same as you looking at the Sancho one. You can see the sprouts of, oh, he'll be amazing at Chelsea if he goes there, but if he stays at United, dog shit, rubbish.
Well, the thing is here, though, is that, again, you mentioned TalkSport, and I heard, I can't remember which one it was who was on there saying it. I think it was possibly Sturridge who was saying it. But this whole idea that saying that Sterling would be better than anything that Manchester United have got at the moment.
Oh, it's Troy Deeney.
I was Troy.
Well, it was Troy Deeney.
Are you serious? I can't get on board with that.
Said he's in better form than any of United's wingers and would offer more. But this is exactly what I mean. It's what Beanie's put there spot on. Now Sterling's been linked with Arsenal. It's experience. It's a trophy winner. It's a Champions League winner. It's this, that, and the other. Did he win the Champions League? I don't know if he did or not. But it's an experience.
That's other fans doing that, isn't it? I mean, we sometimes call out the Internet United fans. I can't imagine that there's Internet United fans going, well, we didn't want him, but actually now he's going to Arsenal. He's bloody amazing.
No, yeah. But it's the media as well. The media, but if he comes to Man United, waste of time, silly signing, waste of money. I suppose it's just part of being a United fan, to be honest. Most people hate us. It's fantastic.
It's very true. We've ruined a lot of childhoods, that's for sure. So I suppose really we're going to move off from that and on to the Liverpool game very quickly. But just before we do, how would you rate your transfer window so far? So Dale, out of 10, if you had to give it a numerical one, with 10 being, oh my God, that was like, I don't know, a Harry Potter marathon with candy floss and angels, and 1 being the same thing, but without candy floss, just farts and bubble gum.
Like watching it with Danny then.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, a 5, a 6, nothing to scream and shout about. I do think we've done some shrewd stuff with some of the younger guys that has maybe gone a bit unnoticed. Bajcetic has gone to Salzburg, so that's a good move because obviously Pep's there, our old assistant manager. So he'll get some minutes there, and that's good for him. And I think we've sent another few players out on loan and things like that. But yeah, nothing major. Yeah, 5 or 6. The goalkeeper's a great signing. I think Chiesa could turn out to be a good signing. So yeah, would have been nice to get that DM in, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And Dan, same for you, for United?
It's a tough one for me, this, because McTominay brings it down, not up. I would have said it was a solid 7 before, but with what the quotes I've seen about McTominay today, it's probably a 6. I think the difference between United and Liverpool is we was desperate for this sort of a transfer window. Like 7, I think we've made something like 140 million euros in sales. Sancho could still go as well. So we needed that rotation. Now it's not just, it's the pessimist coming out again. I just hope it's the right players, because he's often over the last 2 years on this channel that I've sat here and gone, are we blaming Lindelof? He's not kicked a ball for 6 months, but he's still got the blame for the defence being crap. And we're blaming Maguire that we've shipped 7 to Liverpool. And in fact, he wasn't even in the squad. And just stuff like that. So I hope that he's keeping the right players around. But then it makes me concerned that he's saying, I wanted to keep McTominay. Why didn't we get rid of Eriksen instead? But then it comes down to the PSR. So it's an interesting one. But yeah, I'd say we've done a 6. If we can get Ugarte over the line officially and get rid of Sancho, I'll bump that to a 7.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that too much. I think I probably would have gone with an 8 initially, because like you said, it was a sensible transfer window with people going out to replace the ones that are people coming in to replace the ones that are going out, and targeted and not long drawn out, protracted. Oh my God, is he signing? Is he not? Like we always have that one, don't we? It's like that holiday romance, and that was the one. I'm so pleased we haven't had that. So I was going with that, but again, as you say, McTominay leaving, yeah, I don't think I'd go down maybe to a 7.5, maybe. I think I would probably be on for that because, like you say, I think you can't say any signing is ever going to be brilliant. Look at Juan Sebastian Varane, Paul Pogba, both players that should have come in and dominated English football, and they didn't even really dominate Carrington. So that's a bit of a worry. But we shall see. We shall see what these people can come in and do. Signs are generally positive so far. So, Dan, we'll carry on with you looking at the Liverpool game coming up. Now, you mentioned the 7-0 just a minute ago, which is something that I try and forget regularly because it's not the most pleasant of days. But if we just hark back to it briefly, since then, we've not lost to them. So, it was a bad moment for us. And let's not forget that, before that as well, we also had a 5-0 loss and a 4-0 loss. So it was a terrible record that we had with Liverpool for a good 3 years or so. But now we seem to have sort of dragged it back a bit. 2 draws and a win. Obviously, the win being in the FA Cup. And I've got a question for you in a minute for that, Dale. And we'll see sort of quite where that ranks for you. But what do you see, Dan, as the likelihood being moving into Sunday? Because we had a good win and then we had a bad loss. Both tight games, chances to win by more in both games. Didn't do it. We've seen a lot of good play. We've mentioned that on the channel before. We're quite content with what we're seeing. With Mount being injured now, is this now the moment, especially if Ugarte does come in today, is this the moment where Eric's got to say, do you know what? I'm going to change it now. That's it. I'm going to start implementing things the way I want it to be. Or are we still likely to see that 4-2-2-2 formation? And will that, how do you see that working without Mount, I suppose, with Xerxes, and I would assume?
I think you'll go away from the 4-2-2-2-2, 2-2-2-2, however many twos. Xerxes will come in for Mount, I'd imagine. And I do think there's going to be a change with Garnacho, but I think it'll be for Ahmad. So, but it's going to be a forced change. I don't think there's going to be massive changes. I think it's going to be forced. Rashford is a massive game player, no matter which way you look at it. He scores goals against Liverpool, City, Arsenal. He scores in the big games, so he's probably going to play. Ten Hag's alluded today he's happy with his performances. Do you know what? I was saying this today or just the other day. The performances haven't been too bad. If you watch the 90 minutes, we've just had lapses where we shouldn't have lapses from players that shouldn't be making these lapses. So I'm quite positive going into the game. My negativity comes from I've watched Salah in pre-season and he just looks at it. This season looks like he's going to be genuinely at it. And then I'm worried, is Salah going to be going up against Dalot at left back? And that causes me concern because we've seen the defence are prone to a few errors here and there between not just one player, 4 or 5 have been prone to errors this season. So it just makes me think, how do you combat that? Now, from what I understand, Ugarte will not be registered in time to play on Sunday. So the midfield's basically going to be the same. It's going to be Mainu, Casemiro, Fernandes. I don't see that changing. The defence won't change. The goalkeeper obviously won't change. So I do think maybe just one at a push 2 changes, implement what they've been doing so far, and just hope you can find some weaknesses in Liverpool's game. They'll be able to allude to it better. I was saying this about Fernandes. We've seen Fernandes this season trigger the press and no one else has gone. Can't afford to do that against Liverpool because if we only half press, they'll pick through us with ease. So we need to be compact and comfortable. I'd like to see a changing formation, maybe to a 3-5-2 against Liverpool to try and box out the midfield a bit. But I just don't think he's going to do it. It's going to be a 4-2-3-1, or he might do the 4-2-2-2 with Xerxes and Fernandes. But I would be surprised if he did that, to be honest.
No, I think I tend to agree with that. Dale, I'm obviously going to ask you the same question as to how you feel Liverpool are going to set up and what you think they're going to try and do in order to defeat us. But I also have another sort of question for you, because obviously last season was the 4-3 FA Cup win for us, and then there was the 2-2 league draw with yourselves, Mohamed Salah scoring. I was at that game. My nephew was not a happy man coming out of Old Trafford at all. He was sort of like, oh, it feels like we've lost. It's terrible. Like, it really doesn't feel like we've lost. It's a bit naff. I'm going to ignore the 2-2 because ultimately we got a point out of that. So it's not, too bad. For me, I wanted to ask you the very simple question. 7-0, winning that must have been lovely for you. I feel like losing 4-3 in the manner that you did in the FA Cup is worse than us losing 7-0. Hear me out. Let me explain why. I'll tell you why. Because we did it right at the end. 120 plus 1. You're thinking penalties. We're going to beat this lot on penalties. You're there. You've got one hand in Wembley. 7-0. I'm not being funny. By 3-0, most of us have just sat there and gone, it's going to be one of those days, and we're now numb to it. So,
yeah.
I don't know. What do you reckon? So you can go into your team bit, but that one, I'm very intrigued as to what you think, because I would rather lose 7-0 than 4-3 in the last minute.
Okay, I'll answer that one first because while it's fresh in my mind, definitely I would definitely rather have lost 4-3 in the last seconds than 7-0. Yeah, and mainly, Barry, because in 5 years' time, there'll only be United fans who remember winning 4-3 in the last minute of that FA Cup game. Everybody will still remember the time Liverpool spanked United 7-0. They'll still remember that in probably 50 years' time. The FA Cup game, it is what it is. We sort of shot ourselves in the foot in that game, to be fair. I mean, I think we went a goal up a couple of times and then let you back into it, if I remember rightly. Or we came back. I remember Harvey Elliott scoring. I think that put us up, and we should have shut up shop. Like, going to try and win the game in the last seconds from that corner was just a big mistake, and it cost us in the end. So, but yeah, it don't get me wrong, Barry. By the way, it sucked and it hurt at the time, and I want an happy man on the day, but I don't think I'll be thinking about it this time next year. Whereas I imagine,
how many times you've scored 7 against Man United before?
No, not off the top of my head. Unless it was in the 1910s or something.
Absolutely was. Yeah, I do this to your brother all the time. You have managed to put a 7 past us 3 times. That was the 3rd time you've done it.
Yeah.
7-1. That was way back in, and I think Dan remembers this, in 1895.
Yeah.
And again in 1908 when it was 7-4. So it was a much tighter game then. Whereas we put 6 past you. That's the most we've ever done. That was in 1928. So I guess what I'm really saying is that eventually people are going to forget that we lost 7-0.
Yeah, but Barry, I'll be in a box by then, mate, so I won't care.
It's weird. You say about remembering the 7-0.
Ouija board, mate. I won't be bothered.
You say about remembering the 7-0. I forgot it the next day.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, I think I said last time that it was just a freak result. Like, every shot we had went in, and it could have happened. It could easily happen the other way around. It is what it is.
Yes,
but yeah, that answers that question. Yeah, I'd definitely rather have just got pipped in the last minute away from home than took a spanking, to be honest. As for the game on Sunday, I'm actually quite intrigued for this one, because I have watched United a little bit, and I've seen the way they've set up, and it seems like they're playing this sort of false 9. I know that Højlund's injured, so they haven't got him up there. But the way that we've been playing this season is we've really been... So traditionally, or the last few seasons, I felt like United have sort of played Liverpool on the counter, even if it's at Old Trafford. I feel like United have soaked up the pressure, then got out quick, got Rashford down the wing, you know what I mean, attacked down that right-hand side. And it will be interesting to see how United handle the way that Liverpool play now, because we're not so much Jurgen Klopp heavy metal, fullbacks are bombing forward, everybody's bombing forward, leaving a lot of space in behind. We're still playing quite a high line at times, but we're not gung-ho with it. And what we've been doing is waiting for teams to try and press us, and that's why like Danny says, it's important that if Fernandes tries to do that press and no one goes with him, they'll get punished, because Liverpool that's what we're waiting for. This seems to be the Arne Slot way: is keep the ball a lot more, keep possession a lot more, a bit more Pep Guardiola, kill them with passes, not so frenetic football. So I'm actually really intrigued that Ten Hag's going to look at it and try and deal with it and see what they do. It could be a sort of fire and ice situation where we're not going to change our game plan, you're not going to change yours, and not a lot happens because we're knocking it around at the back for a while. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there.
No, I think you're fair points all round on that one. Dan, I want to focus a little bit on Bruno Fernandes, because after his first game, he obviously apologised to all of the FPL people, saying that he knew he hadn't quite done as much as he maybe could have done before. He's had a couple of opportunities as well in the game against Brighton. Do you think that the way the formation is going now is impacting the way in which he would usually like to play? Because we know Fernandes, he's not shy at having a shot, he's not shy at having a go, but he usually does that from the safety of in and around the box. At the moment, because of this false nine sort of narrative, he's expecting to be the one that sometimes makes that run, to be the person that meets the ball. It's an entirely different tactic for him. Do you think that this is actually sort of hamstringing Bruno Fernandes, really? And as a result, that's why we're not seeing the goal scoring prowess that we would perhaps expect to be seeing in those first couple of games?
It's a difficult one because he's definitely got into positions for the chances, and he should have scored 2 in the first game in particular, and then probably should have got a goal the last time out. So he's in the position still. I'm so frustrated for Fernandes because he keeps putting all these numbers up: biggest chances created, biggest is it best pass something in the final third for us for like 4 years in a row. So he's finding his men. He's getting the assist. Well, he's not getting the assist. Should be getting for his stats, but we're asking him to do so much donkey work, sort of what Rooney ended up doing. So he's doing more work for the team than he should have to, because the squad's not good enough or not helping him out enough. I would very much love to see Fernandes stuck in his correct position and allowed to play there, because everybody else can be trusted to do their jobs. So he hasn't got to run around like a headless chicken, because he would bring so much to the team. I mean, he already does bring so much to the team, but imagine having the opportunity of just sticking him in where he's creating chances for people, and that's all he's asked to do, because that's what he's the very best at, and he's been the very best at in the league for 5 years. So it's frustrating watching Fernandes. I feel sorry for him. I just always imagine him in like a Fergie Man United side. The amount of goals and assists he would have got would be absolutely crazy. There definitely needs to be an adjustment for Fernandes so he can be more influential on the team without having to do all the running around, to be honest. But it's up to the other players to step up. We say this quite a lot. Fernandes is obviously going to be massive. I'd imagine if Fernandes doesn't play well against Liverpool, Man United don't win that game. So we need him. We need him to step up. We need Rashford to step up. To be honest, it's going to sound mental to say this when you think about the games that have gone and the mistakes the defensives have made, but we've looked very good for 85 minutes and we've wasted attacks, and we can't afford to do that against Liverpool. It's the defence that have cost us in the first couple of games because we've made errors, but we've wasted chances up front. We've got to be clinical against Liverpool. I can remember being on this show last year when we played Everton, and I said, we need to score our first chance and we'd go on and win 3-0. And that's the sort of thing we need to do to Liverpool. I'm not saying we'd go on to win 3-0, but if we get a chance in the first 5 minutes, we cannot afford to fluff it. It's got to go in, and it sets the tone then for the rest of the game.
Just jumping on that as well. I know it's we're only 2 games in, but both games so far, Liverpool have started a little bit sluggish. It's seems to be an hangover from last season where we were starting pretty slow and coming on in the second half and turning it on a little bit. So I think it's doubly important that for you guys that if you are on top in that first sort of 15, 20 minutes, you've got to really make it count, because that's where Liverpool seem to be struggling. If I wouldn't say struggling, but we're not performing as well in the first half as we are in the second half.
It's like he needs half time to G him up a little bit.
Yeah, it's not even G'ing them up. I don't know what it is. It seems to just be that they're just taking a while to get into the rhythm. Maybe it's because it's early season. I think NT mentioned in a message that it's still early and maybe the teams aren't fully fit and things like that. I think actually Ten Hag come out and said that, didn't he, about you guys that they weren't ready. So yeah, I think. But it's shocking, and you wouldn't expect your manager to say it, but he won't be the only manager. Yeah, there'll be other managers who are thinking it but not saying it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see that. I think in terms of where I see United's, get the inhalers out. I think they went with Klopp, to be honest. I think where I see United's maybe struggling a little bit is midfield. If they go 3-for-3, Szoboszlai and Gravenberch have just looked electric so far. Again, only 2 games in, but they seem to have so much energy. Szoboszlai is a running machine, and it's sort of Casemiro that I worry about for you guys. Has he still got that athleticism to keep up with McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai for the full 90? Maybe, I don't know. I guess we'll find out on Sunday. But yeah, and for us, the one player that has looked a little bit out of sorts so far is Robbo. So if you're going to play Ahmad on that right wing, he might give him some problems because he has looked a little bit off it so far. Not terrible, just not his normal what I'd expect from him. So yeah.
Interesting. Let's go for a little quick fire one because we all love a little bit of brotherly love. And I'll be honest, I've got a funny feeling I know where this will end up going. But I'm going to try it anyway. It's very easy. So, Onana or Alisson?
Is that a serious question?
Yeah, it's got to be Alisson.
Interesting. You've both
for what? For what, Barry?
What do you mean for what? For being in goal?
To play football or to go on a date with or what?
To go on a date.
To be in goal, obviously.
It's not Alisson, by the way, if it's to go on a date. Yeah, Alisson. Yeah, is the best.
Fair enough.
I mean, massive bias incoming. Is the best goalkeeper in the world. It's. I don't think it's close, is it?
I actually think he's the best goalkeeper in the world as well. Unfortunately,
I'm really asking the questions. You'll tell from my face whether or not I think you're giving me the right answer or not. But no, I probably would go. I think Alisson's had the time and the effort to show that he is. He's there at the moment.
Didn't Onana set a record for like the quickest to concede 60 goals or something crazy like that? I saw the other day.
I think, to be fair, his defence had a lot to do with that as well.
Yeah,
saves he made as well. So it's quite bizarre to get both of those records, and he was up there for the Golden Glove as well. So all of those statistics.
Yeah. He's actually not been too bad in the Premier League. I think the Champions League was where a lot of his criticism came from.
Thank God we're not in that this season, so he can't do that to us again. Virgil van Dijk or Martinez? I was going to say Maguire, but I didn't want to have that fight.
It's Virgil, obviously.
If you would have said Maguire, I would have said Maguire. No,
it's again. I think Virgil's just head and shoulders, isn't he? Let's be honest. Is a phenomenon of a centre back.
You gonna have that
on current form?
Well, we're 2 games into the season and we've conceded no goals.
Yeah, I'd say Van Dijk on current form because I think Martinez has come back a little bit slow. Yeah, I'd say Van Dijk as well over what we've seen. Ask me again in 3 seasons, see what happens.
Yeah.
That's unacceptable. Simple question for you now, and that will dictate what the next one is.
Okay.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, is he a right back or a central midfielder a la Gareth Southgate?
I think
he's a right back.
But yeah, for Liverpool, he's done his best stuff at right back, and I think a bit like what you guys were saying earlier about United getting negative media coverage sometimes when it's not warranted. I think the whole Trent can't defend thing is ridiculous. Like he's not the perfect defender. He doesn't go a whole season without making a mistake, but he also is a really good defender at times, and he's played against the world's best and kept him quiet in games, Champions League, etc. To be honest, because of what he can do, and T's right there. Because of what he can do, you could probably play him in goal and he'd still be effective at setting up attacks and play. So yeah, but for me, is a right back.
Okay, so the question is Trent Alexander-Arnold or Mazraoui?
Trent. It's got to be.
Dan, you're going to go with the 3 Liverpool players on the trot.
You're making this really difficult. I was hoping you'd say Dalot, because there's an argument for Dalot to be above him because he was good last season. I don't know enough about Mazraoui to say Mazraoui, but what I will say is he's come in and he looks like the ultimate professional. He doesn't. There's no flash gimmicks. There's no showing off to the cameras. He's just a proper defender. But I'm gonna have to say Trent. I don't like this game anymore, Barry.
No, I don't either. It's a terrible idea. If anyone was recording this, I could edit this bit. As it is, it's there on the internet forever. Alejandro Garnacho or Mo Salah?
Oh, come on! It's. I would pick Mo Salah over almost anybody in Premier League history.
There's a method for my madness here because
he's a phenomenally underrated.
Having just mentioned those 4 players, Manchester United come out of this with a win. This is absolutely getting clipped. It's going to be like that.
The
old newspaper one.
Yeah. I listen. I wouldn't. Only die-hard Man United fans would argue with any of what we've just said. I would argue that, like, I think most neutrals would agree that those players that we've said are better. So if United get the win, they fully deserve it. They fully deserve it.
This was like when we was kids, and I would say that Vidic was the best defender in the world, and you would tell me that Sami Hyypiä was better.
I still maintain that now.
See, die on Liverpool fan.
And of course, the most important one: who does make the better cuppa?
I don't think T.
Well, Alisson's a big. He'll be on the match, won't he? With him being South American, they all drink that, don't they?
And I'm going to say Garnacho now, just because of that Hyypiä comment.
It's all right because as much as they mention those players, we know that we've got players in history that would do that. And I dubbed this the GOAT derby because I think it kind of is in English football, isn't it? It's not a geographical one as much it is about who it is that has been the most successful. There's no argument that Liverpool have been better in terms of their European accolades, but I think we just about tip the scales domestically, thanks to Mr. Sir Alex Ferguson, or God, as I like to call him, on most days. Not on a Sunday, though. That seems wrong.
I think Man City have got a lot to do with it as well. If they want to go out about for the last few years, Liverpool might have a few more titles.
Well, there is that fact that, this golden era of yours under Klopp, where you won the Carabao Cup, the FA Cup, and the league over the space of a few seasons. And of course, we did that in just 10 days, didn't we? So there is always that.
Yeah, but you didn't have a Champions League to help, though, did you? To ease the pain of only winning those trophies.
What's that, the Champions League? No, the treble, where we won that one. Remember that?
Yeah.
No, I'm on about recently, within the last sort of...
That was recent. I was still a teenager.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely more recent than those last results we were talking about.
What's it about that? This is not me having a dig. I'm asking a question now. How long has it been now since United have won the league?
I want to say 12.
2012, wasn't it? When Fergie.
2012.
2012.
So what's that? Getting on to a decade now.
Oh, it's over that.
It's over that. 12. I think it's 11, 12 seasons.
And Arsenal, they're on 20.
Yeah, they're like the Man United of old.
Yeah. They're what we're going to be if we don't sort our stuff out.
This season's the one.
I watched Agree to Disagree. I don't know whether you guys have ever seen that on YouTube.
I haven't, but we'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, it was a guy called, you guys might know him because he's a United guy, Syed.
I have heard of him, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't cover himself in glory on it, lads, to be honest. He didn't cover himself in glory. So
Never mind. Maybe he could have covered himself in Marmadashvili. We're waiting to put that one out, 45 minutes. And we are pretty much at the end. As I said, it's going to be more short form, so we are going to draw it to a close, but we obviously have to close it with what's the score going to be. So, Dale, we shall go to you. What do you see the result being come 6 o'clock on Sunday evening?
I think it's actually going to be quite tight. I do. I don't think it's going to be a fiver or a four goal. I'm going to go. I think we'll have just too much energy for you, with old Ten Hag saying that you guys are still warming up a little bit, and I think it'll be 2-1. And I do think United will take the lead. Actually, I think you'll get an early goal, but I think we'll be able to hold on to it until the second half, and then hopefully we'll play some of the football that we have been playing and nick a couple of goals. But it could easily go 2-1 the other way. I don't think it's with it being so early in the season and teams still getting ready and stuff. I think it's going to be tight.
It's definitely a difficult and a tight one. But what do you reckon, Dan?
7-0 Man United. I'm just going to put it in the universe and pray to Sir Alex Ferguson it comes true. No, I think it's going to be. I do think it's going to be close. It's going to be a good game of football. I'm hoping that the sole basis of me thinking that Man United are going to win the game is that Liverpool start slow and we can take advantage of that. So I think it's going to be 2-1 the other way. I think we hopefully take a good start, and then we can just hold on a little bit at the end because Liverpool will come with the energy. But if you can't get up for a game against Liverpool at Old Trafford, then we're going to have a long season, if we're honest. What we don't want to see is what we've seen in the past where the team roll over a little bit and there's big issues. Just a solid fight against Liverpool where we come out with a point, 3 points, just a bit of pride will go a long way this season. I'm comparing this game to the game we played against Arsenal last year where we was on the end of the 3-1 after the Garnacho offside. I think I get that it's NT said it's not as important because it's early in the season, but this would put us 6 points behind Liverpool if we lost. So we do need to be on it, and we need to set an early marker that we're not going to be easily beaten. And Ugarte is getting announced at 9:30.
I can see that happening as well, Dan. I can easily see United getting a goal early and then pressing home that sort of momentum and getting a couple of goals in the first half. And then see Liverpool maybe nicking one in the second half. I could easily see that happening. So.
Yeah, well, I just hope we start fast.
1-0
down after 5. What, Ugarte?
Yeah.
Fabrizio Romano. Apparently, there's going to be an announcement at 9:30, but it's all confirmed. Ugarte has actually released on social media a message to PSG fans about his exit. So it's all done. All done.
Promising. Good news. Let's hope he does come to us. That'd be an absolute.
Imagine if he drops to Liverpool.
WWE proportions if he signed for somebody else. Oh my God, look who it was.
Lads, there ain't any nice mountains in Paris, is there? You don't like the Eiffel Tower because you never know. You might convince him to stay.
Change his mind.
Well, we shall certainly see. I do think it's going to be 2-1 to United, purely because, as you said, it's going to be tight. But I think we've sort of ridden that battering wave, and we've been unfortunate, I think, in a few games. And I'm hoping that we can do exactly as we did in the last game, where Salah got the one at the end, but not have Salah score one at the end, and just be that little bit more tidy in the back four. NT will finish with you. It's pretty much the only game in the Prem where I genuinely have physical symptoms of anxiety for. Start sweating, stomach gets in knots, heart rate goes up. Hopefully, the game lives up to it. And I completely agree with you. But it's Man United Liverpool. I'm pretty sure that it will. On the week where it has been decided that those Manchester City supporting brothers are finally making love and not war and deciding that they're going to release some songs, definitely, maybe. The absolute outrageousness of what's been going on there. You need to have a champagne supernova just to be able to afford it. Hotels cancelling bookings and then just magically finding the space again, but at hundreds of pounds more. When all of that is going, isn't it just an absolute delight to know that the real entertainment is going to be on the football pitch? And it's not that far away. 2 days to go. I can't wait. Dale, you've been a legend. Thank you very much for joining us. Dan, you've been superb also. We're all for United, and we'll be back Sunday night. See you then, where hopefully it's United 7, Liverpool 0. Hey!